Hey, it's Dan Dibley from Willard and Dibs. You're listening to Steiny and Guru. I got 3 hours and a bunch of problems.
I haven't heard that one before. I like that.
Dibbers.
I've been getting in for Matt Steinmetz.
Because you don't play it when you're on the board. That's why you haven't heard it. You don't play it.
It's because it's expired. That was back when we were only doing 3 hours.
Yeah,
You
we're
got
doing
4 now.
four.
You're too busy showering the field with garbage.
By the way, before we get to that, the crossover is brought to you by California Academy of Sciences. Every visit supports the Academy's mission to regenerate the natural world. Learn more and reserve your ticket at calacademy.org. What's up?
Man, deep in the Hennessy, throwing garbage on the field. Evan, I was surprised to see that.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, no, I would never throw that bottle. It's worth a nickel.
Good point. Yeah. CRV.
No, but I was not involved in the throwing of trash on the field. That does not mean I was not around everyone else that was throwing trash onto the field. And to me, maybe you feel differently, Dibs, but it did not mar the evening.
Yeah, it marred the evening. And I guess I do feel differently because when you look at the takeaway for the night, the night was great. The A's fans, it was perfect from blank you Fisher to stay in Oakland, the stay shirts, the whole thing. Yeah. They won the game 2-1, sell the team, all that. It was all so great. And then you got to the end, and A's fans chose to throw garbage on the field, which is not a protest. All it is making good, hard-earned, underpaid folks have to do additional work to pick up your garbage. And it told the nation, well, they're working anyway, and they could have been doing upkeep to the field, which is an incredible field. Shout out Clay Wood. But all you did is tell the nation this is why they're going to leave.
I feel like, and you're a smart man, you're being short-sighted in the sense that F the nation. It's about A's Nation. And it's about the fact that the garbage that Fisher and company have been running out there on the field, that's what yesterday was about. And a lot of people ask me, and I didn't have this answer. I got it now, guys. What's the win? What are you trying to accomplish? Even the boss asked that. And Willard, I'm not an infant. I take care of my neighborhood, and I try to tell my kids to do the same with that was symbolic of we paid and gave you money, hard-earned money for something we shouldn't be doing, but we're so fed up. And it's not about the people that had to pick up the trash, because you are right. You got a point there. But that was symbolic in you're going to do the trash is coming from the ownership, but we're going to throw the trash on the field. And to me, and I was in the living room, I felt like that was an exercise of, you know what, fighting back.
Right, but you already did fight back by showing up. That was you fighting back. And the nation would not have had a mixed message. And the nation does matter, by the way, because the nation represents the other owners in Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. And if you Google, and I asked you to do this earlier, and I know you've been busy hosting a show, but if you Google Oakland A's trash, you'll see all the national outlets saying, great night. Unfortunately, it had to end with the A's fans throwing trash on the field. And to me, there is never a time where throwing trash on the field is symbolic, positive, or good in any way, shape, or form. I thought you A's fans, I give you 8 2/3 of shutout ball. It was great. And then you gave up a big, ugly number late. You still got the win, but you didn't get the shutout. You didn't get the nice quality victory. It got ugly late, and it didn't have to.
Are you saying that real quick, Willard, are you saying the trash incident superseded what was going on from 3:30 on?
No, didn't supersede it, but it marred it. It's marred.
To me, it wasn't about the game so much. And like, if you just take a look at the front page of ESPN, first story, A's, there's nothing about trash in it. Like
right.
Tim
I even did just Google Oakland A's trash. And I don't really
see
about
a possum.
Hey, go to John Boy.
I don't really see what you're seeing. Certainly not in any terms of an opinion from anybody else. There are some news stories about the fact that it happened. There are also a bunch of news stories that don't mention it. I just look at it this way. Sometimes in a larger message, there is collateral damage. I don't mean to make this serious, but think about protests in our world where sometimes a message is trying to be sent, and unfortunately there's collateral damage, and people don't like the collateral damage. I get it. I don't like this for the Oakland A's ground crew either. It is not their fault, and they should not have to clean this up. In a perfect world, John Fisher has to come clean it up. But
the game was going on.
There's two things I think here. One, totally understandable that was a piece of the message. We show up, we tell you we love baseball, We do this in a controlled way where even the fifth inning that they pulled off with the silence
that was
followed by the sell the team chant, we pulled this off. And on the way out the door, because we know you're gonna leave anyway,
right.
and you've trashed this place for years. So this is what we think of you, John. We trash you on the way out the door. And then my other point is this. I just think a lot of worse things could have happened at the end of an event like this. You mix in emotion and alcohol. If trash on the field, if trash on the field is the worst thing that happens at the end of the event, I'm okay.
And that makes it right. That worse things could have happened.
I didn't say that.
That's what it sounds like you saying.
Understandable is the word that I used.
And I think it's understandable, but it's very unfortunate because it becomes a part of the story. And whether or not Tim Keown wrote it in his ESPN article or not, it happened. And there are many people who look at that and say, that's why you don't deserve a team. And you didn't have to have that be a part of the conversation.
Who's saying that?
Yeah,
I don't hear anyone saying
Go
that.
to John Boy, which is John Boy is Chris Rose's. John Boy. John Boy had an article that had nearly a million views that I saw earlier today, talking about the garbage as a big part of.
But if you don't live out of here,
but
Dibs isn't how
you
valid
asked me,
is that
you asked me
article?
who said it, and I'm telling you who.
But no. An article that happened
gospel.
is very different than someone making the statement that that's why you don't get a
deserve
team.
the team.
Did someone actually say that?
Many individuals.
Who?
Yeah, go to Twitter, go to the John Boy article, and go to the comments below, and
Twitter.
But did you know how many guys?
You asked me who said that, and I'm telling you that's who
those are
said
nameless,
that.
faceless Twitter accounts.
And they don't even live here to know.
Am I nameless and faceless?
No, that's you.
Because I'm saying it on 95.7 The Game.
But you're saying many people are saying that. Who else that has a name, credibility, a face, a voice? Who else? I don't want John 8456 period dash on Twitter. That doesn't matter to me. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Your opinion matters.
Yeah.
Who else that knows
the history
something about all this is saying that's a big statement. That's why you don't deserve a team?
Right.
Because you threw trash on the field? I mean, at Dodger Stadium, someone got killed. Do they deserve a team?
Right.
Like, stuff happens,
at Oracle Park, someone got killed.
Yeah.
So
stuff,
we can do that
happens.
all.
There were some people that called in about it that were not happy with the trash.
Yeah.
But again,
that's a big statement that's why they don't deserve a team.
No, that's why I'm asking, who is that? Are they
from
here? Because I don't think they would say that if they were from here.
Right. I'm saying that people who aren't from here look at the situation in Oakland and say, well, there you go. And it's, to me, an unfortunate end to what was a perfect night. It was a magical night. All the sell shirts, and the A's tried like heck to keep all the sell shirts off of the in-house monitor, which you couldn't do because you were right about 60%. It felt like it was about
There's a lot.
At least 50-50 in terms of people who had those shirts on. Yeah. Whether they were wearing it under their A's jersey or not, people were wearing them, and it was great. And the statement and the signage and the chants, it was all so wonderful. And then the last lasting memory, unfortunately for me, was seeing an outfield littered with garbage, which was unnecessary. If you want to protest John Fisher, go to his house and throw garbage on his lawn.
Nobody even knows where that is.
Exactly.
Nobody even knows
he
who
doesn't even live in
John might have been right behind the plate last night,
That's
and nobody even knows.
Yeah, might have called in.
I'm looking at John Boy's feed right now. It's got all kinds of video of what happened last night. Sell the team. There is John Boy himself saying, quote, "This is such a bad look for Major League Baseball." But what he's talking about is the fact that the A's are moving. I just like you can totally be turned off by the way that it ended. I don't think it's landing in any large sense the way maybe you feel like it's landing. I thought the lead story by far and away last night was the eyes that were open to the noise, the energy, the commitment, the emotion that was shown by Oakland A's fans. And they are going to mic drop on the way out because they also understood that while they displayed all of that last night, they damn well knew that it wasn't going to change the story.
Right.
The A's are going to Vegas.
Well, nor will they show up tonight. So they've won 7 in a row.
Right.
And are they going to draw 22-5 tonight?
And it doesn't matter.
That wasn't the point.
Casey Pratt on the morning show, as Listen said, that was the last night of baseball in Oakland.
No
in
doubt.
Any way, in any substantive
Tonight
way.
has nothing.
That was
tomorrow. It don't matter.
So on your way out the door, John, this is what we think of you, my hot dog wrapper, and maybe a hot dog still in it is going on the field. I'm kind of like with Evan. If I would have been there, I wouldn't have thrown anything on the field. I also wouldn't have stopped anybody standing next to me.
No, I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, guys, you shouldn't do that."
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm also admittedly biased. I mean, and you could call me just being okay with all this stuff happening, kind of a defeatist mindset. But I think a lot of people were done. There's a bunch of my friends there that I've known from childhood who told me that's their last A's game that they will ever go to. And so on the way out, however they see fit to end their time at the Coliseum is completely up to them. If they want to throw stuff, I mean, they didn't hurt anyone.
Gotcha.
They didn't start a riot. And in fact, this is why I gave a shout out to this Coliseum crew. Also the security, who I thought did a great job in not escalating any of these situations after the game, when people were playing music, when they were after the game throwing stuff away, when they were chanting, cheering, singing, dancing well after the game. No one was pushing anyone. There was no violence. It was as close, I thought, to what they were trying to accomplish as they could, which is basically, we haven't had a voice and you haven't wanted to give us one for a long time. Let's just see if we can do it one last time. 27,500 people.
It's not a campaign to, throw trash at your workplace, Dibs. I feel like that's how or the people that look at that and that's their takeaway.
We recycle.
Not why the fans are there and what it means, but the trash is kind of, you're missing the point a little bit because, this was a one-off. It's not, we're not telling kids go out there and, you know what I mean? So,
Right. So I'm missing the point that throwing trash on the field is a part of the protest because so John Fisher's going to see that and he's going to be affected. Or Dave Cavill's going to see that. To me, throwing trash in the field
is a mindset of a consumer that is
give
upset.
A middle finger to the people who work there, basically saying, because your protest was done. The protest was great. Your reverse boycott was wonderful. You showed up and you're not going to show up again. Although I wonder if they win 13 more in a row and they come home and they have a chance to win a 21st in a row, you think that they're going to get more than 2,800 people?
Yeah.
I bet you all the A's fans this is my last A's game. Let's say the A's win 20 in a row and now it's 27 straight. A's fans will be back.
I'll bet against that possibility.
And that's not a bad
it'd be great because then they would get to 5 games below
Longer
500.
win streak than the Giants this year.
The bandwagon is real.
Facts. And I hate
listen. Everybody's allowed to be offended by what offends you. If I'm offended by something last night, it's still going to be John Fisher. It's still going to be Major League Baseball. It's still going to be Dave Kaval. It's still going to be Las Vegas politicians.
Did you find after that went down? Not a minute after.
Donyate. Does everyone know who we're talking about here? Do you remember I want to say it again.
The flip flop and drop.
We brought it up on our show yesterday. That if you saw it on social media, that Nevada politician who took Kaval behind the woodshed.
That he did.
He voted yes.
That's just
money talks.
He voted yes. So everybody here is complicit. Yeah. Everybody's dirty. Yeah. And so if the fans are frustrated to the point where you huck a cup on the field, I'm sorry to the groundskeeper, but I get it.
And you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
And, again, we're talking about a city I was born in. And, I told Evan this. I don't want to sound shallow or a simpleton. But, Mark, I know when you move into an area or a new city, you want to find out about the schools first, the crime. But, man, Dibs, I want to know, what are the athletics like? That there's pride in that. There's civic pride in. We had 2 baseball teams. We had 2 football teams at one point, and 1 basketball team that everybody loved, the hockey team. So from an Oakland standpoint, there's a lot going on with the city of Oakland, or a lot not going on.
Yeah.
Drive through there. We get it, but my goodness, okay, I understand why everybody dipped the Warriors and the Raiders. But now you're telling me Oakland's going to be a ghost land for professional sports? That hurts.
That doesn't affect me at all. And I lived in Oakland for 21 years.
So why does the trash?
Because it's offensive to the people who work there, Evan. To throw garbage on the field, you're basically giving a middle finger to Clay Wood and his ground crew staff who did nothing other than work their butts off each and every day. Your protest is
What about
intact.
the other middle finger
Your
for
protest
ownership
is
to the fans?
This has
Dibs?
nothing to do with ownership. Is John Fisher out there with one of those claw grabbers
No,
picking
he
up
never
cups?
has been, and he never will be. He's not even watched the game
That's
last
it.
night.
He's
That's
the
not
reason
the
they're
point.
throwing
You're
the trash.
disrespecting the people who work there is what you're doing.
I
That's
think-
all
I-
that
I
was.
think
It was
those-
a complete act of disrespect.
Those people
That's
are
not why it
much
was
more
thrown.
disrespected by the fact that they're about to be without a job.
Man.
Right.
Those people
Man.
are going to
And you're
lose
speaking
a
for
job.
Clay Wood right now, the groundskeeper
I
and the
mean,
ground staff.
I'm not. I would
I know
imagine,
that Clay Wood was reportedly irate.
I bet
According to reporters who talked to Clay Wood, he was irate at the fact that he had to do that at the end of his
I bet
night.
they
I wonder if he's
understood,
more
man.
irate about that versus the fact that he won't have a job in a year.
Well, we should get him on
I
because
would love to.
he's been on many a
would
radio
love to.
show.
You don't really
He's the
believe
best
the
in the
grounds
business.
crew, even though they didn't want to go do it, they could lightweight understood why the trash was being thrown.
I can't speak for how
I
they
gotta
felt.
believe, not that they wanted that, but that was one of those. We get it.
I know that if I work on a grounds crew for Major League Baseball, I'm used to grooming the dirt and the grass and the bases
Which is
and the
beautiful, by the
field.
way, yeah.
I'm not out there feeling like I'm in an orange vest on the side of 238 picking up garbage.
Well, and look, again, I did not throw anything, but for one person or a group of people, a small group, and I'm sure Clay Woods is a fantastic individual, deserves nothing but respect, but for him to be irate for 20, 30 minutes in order for 28,000 people to voice their frustration to me
Come
is something I'm willing to be okay
That-
with.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. So let's play this one. Then
Yeah.
when you get off the air today, I'll go out here in the green room and I'll just completely trash it, and then we'll have you go through and do all the detailing.
But
And
that
you-
only services
and you
one
gotta
person.
pick it
What's
up.
the message?
That service
you're
is
trying
one
to send?
person.
Right.
I'm protesting the
What?
fact.
What
I'm
are you
protesting the
protesting?
fact that
Or are you
he's
just
in
mad?
for Matt
Or
Steiny.
you're just mad?
No, I'm mad because I want Steiny. That's
this
what I'm
is-
protesting.
This is one thing, and again,
hell
I'm
with the kids.
trying to come up.
Thank you.
Trying to come up with analogies that won't make this sound overly serious, but the idea of protest is to make people uncomfortable.
Right, right.
And so there's going to be collateral damage. There's going to be people who are inconvenienced if somebody stops the Golden Gate Bridge or if somebody kneels during the national anthem. There are going to be people who are put off by certain things that are happening. If you don't do that, your message doesn't get heard at all.
Right.
That's
Because
it.
it's easy for
It's not
everybody.
it. It's
It's
not
easy
it.
for everybody to just sweep it under the rug and ignore it.
So we protest police brutality, and we march down Broadway in Oakland, and then we throw a brick through the Oaklandish office because we're mad. Is that
It's a
fair?
little different.
That's totally-
No, it's exactly his analogy.
No,
It's what you're
because-
talking about. Collateral damage.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
Well, first of all, yours is much more serious and expensive than picking up pieces of paper on the
And
ground.
dangerous.
but it's
And
collateral
more dangerous.
damage.
Yes, and guess what? In protests, there is that. There is
Right.
that.
Right.
And people who have been disenfranchised, the people, even in your more serious analogy, the people who have been disenfranchised for their entire lives in this world, Guru, you can speak to this, I think sometimes are allowed to let off a little steam.
And
Because
wow.
because they
We're still talking about A's fans, right?
We're talking about everybody.
Yeah.
We're talking about collateral damage
Right,
when a
right.
group of people has been disenfranchised
Oppressed.
unfairly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
And
about.
Dibs, I'll say this, Willard.
It's
and
real easy
Evan,
for everybody else to just be like, "Oh, like a window's broken. This is unfair."
Right.
It's nowhere near as unfair as what everybody else
And
has
Martin Luther
experienced.
King, the great Martin Luther King said, the riot is the language of the unheard. Okay, and I'm not advocating right, but Dibs, that's what, like Willard said, you're trying to send a message. Sometimes it ain't going to be peaches and cream.
Right.
I just
Shout out to Prince.
I felt like every A's fan that paid the ticket to go in that thing last night was justified in throwing something
Okay.
and throwing
If
it
they
to a team
wanted to.
like they're
Yeah.
not breaking the law,
Sure,
Evan.
sure.
They did something where they ain't going down to the clink, but the disenfranchised, the unheard, they got a message, man. And
We're
that's
talking
what-
about baseball still,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
These are A's fans.
it's big.
We're
to
talking
me, it's
about
bigger
baseball.
than baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about the
Yeah,
city
we're
of
talking
Oakland
about
and its
and
pride
honestly,
dying.
as a 21-year resident of the city of Oakland, my heart would not break at having no baseball teams. You know when my heart breaks as an Oakland resident?
It should be
the fact
broken
that there's
now.
more than 130 murders a year,
Okay.
and the fact that
The
the
homeless
schools,
situation.
the fact that my son went to high school and he didn't have a teacher for a month because his
That's
teacher
real.
quit and he
Those
had
are
a
real
security
things.
guard as his teacher, and the fact that the teachers can't get enough money to even make a decent living wage, and so they had to close multiple schools, and they had to protest. Now, if those teachers want to throw garbage on their picket line, throw garbage. But as an A's fan at a baseball game, you're going to throw a cup because you're mad because your team's leaving? Miss me with that.
So now you're transferring what matters to you.
Speaking about me, there's an Oakland
he loses
resident.
now with
Somebody who lived there for 21 years.
That's also fine.
That's also valid too. But now
Totally
you can't tell other Oakland residents that that's exactly what should matter to them. This matters to them.
28K.
Sure. Even with the teachers, though, there's collateral damage.
So if you think it's okay for the teachers to do it, it's okay for the A's fans to do it because that's what matters to them.
Right. A baseball team.
When teachers stage a walkout in Oakland, there are kids.
Your whole life is sports.
Don't
diminish sports.
No. As an Oakland resident, and I no longer live there, the A's contributed almost nothing to what I did in terms of me
and that's your perspective.
Raising my children there, putting my kids through K through 12 education.
I just think you're transferring what matters to you and asking everybody else to have the same.
I'm not asking anybody to say that.
Grab the microphone.
The Oakland voters have spoken in terms of what they value.
So would you angry about what they're angry about?
Yeah, Dibs, and I'm just asking you this: would you have got on the microphone with that energy you have now? I ain't going to call it bad energy and told everybody you need to get your priorities right because this is something that I don't feel like is worthy enough for a protest because that's what it sounds like you're saying to the people that care about the A's or just the pro franchises remaining in Oakland. I'm like, would you get on the bullhorn and say, what are you guys doing here? Because I don't agree. There's other stuff going on.
Oh, go and do your reverse protest, your reverse boycott. I thought that it was foolish in terms of the efficacy because it has no effect. Does John Fisher wake up this morning and go, you know what? Guys, I need to rethink this.
But that
wasn't the point.
That wasn't the point.
It's not the point.
Yeah. The point was, we're going to show up one time and say goodbye, and I'm happy for you.
What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
The alternative is you don't
still
give
not
him
going
your
to
money.
games?
Wow.
And he flipped it on you by saying, I'm going to take the proceeds for the ticket revenue and I'm going to donate it. He flipped the whole script on the people, which I thought was even more disingenuous.
If I give $50 to John Fisher to experience something I'm going to live with for the rest of my life, that's a cost I'm willing.
And I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
But you don't agree.
I chose not to spend $50.
But it doesn't sound like it.
I chose not to spend my $50 to give to John Fisher in that same vein.
No one's asking you to participate.
And that's okay.
They're asking for you to understand what
I completely understand.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, I completely understand.
It doesn't sound like it. I'm just telling you what it sounds like.
It just sounds like you think
you
the night
can
was
say whatever you want to say in terms of what you're hearing.
So the night was ruined by trash when the entire night.
I didn't say ruined. I said marred.
Marred, but that's okay.
Stained.
What is the first thing you're going to remember when someone says reverse boycott?
I'm going to remember there was the last time that people gave a crap about the Oakland A's.
What was the second, third, fourth, fifth thing you're going to remember about that? Like, I'm sorry, trash is not going to be in my top 10.
It'll probably be number 2 or 3 for me.
But
it won't be a nail-biting 2-1 victory that was won by God knows who, because I couldn't tell you who's on the Oakland A's because I tuned them out about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and a lot of fans
when they broke up with us here at 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, RIP. And like that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, last night was whether it was special. It's not about work. Yes, John Fisher's not going to wake up and say, "Oh my God, I got to sell the team now, or we're not moving to Vegas."
Right.
He's been trying to move his team. He's been trying to extract every last cent of that team since he invested in them in 2005, and then took over in 2016. That's his MO. People are fed up about it, and we're tired of just sitting on the couch and saying, I'm not going to go to games and not support They've been not supporting the team, to your point, like tonight, for the last 10 years. So what? They try and stage something to put them together, but at the very end, there's one little thing that you don't like, and so that mars the entire purpose of it. That I don't understand.
Yeah, Dibs wasn't all the way in on the whole concept, which is fine. I get that. You weren't all the way in.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah. No, and that's your prerogative.
You know what? As I went through yesterday's show and I heard from people like Evan about what it meant to them, I was like, you know what? That's cool. It's one last time to say goodbye, and then you go through the whole night, you get the win, and then you stain it. No, you stained it at the end. That's my opinion. Had you not thrown the garbage, it would have been a perfect night.
I mean,
it wouldn't have been perfect because they're going to move anyways. Like it wouldn't be perfect either way.
You could have chanted and beat your drums, and then you could have left.
I gotta go.
It could have been
good.
No, I feel it's important to mention that this is the most airtime we have spent on the Oakland A's in 25 years. So the fans deserve credit for that. They deserve credit for that. But anyway, that said, hey, Guru's got to go. I'd love you to weigh on this real quick before you go.
Yeah.
So this is kind of micro macro with the Giants, who get another victory, right? Yeah. They get another victory and go ahead and sweep St. Louis today. Another come from behind fashion. But Luis Matos comes up, and after 3 at-bats, and he gets a big league knock in his first major league at-bat.
Screamer.
He is pinch hit for in the 7th or 8th. I can't remember which inning it was.
Welcome to the Giants.
Yep. And Gabe Kapler even said it in the locker room afterwards. Yeah, we introduced Luis into Giants baseball, which is we hit for you.
That's all
right. So we're going to hear that here in a little bit. But there are people who are saying this year should simply be about the kids and development. I'm over here going, hold on. Sure, bring the kids up, but be a part of this team that's trying to win. And so pinch hitting for Matos with Conforto down too late grabs you in what sort of a way?
I mean, it's exactly who the Giants are, which is...
What should they be?
I mean, the last 48 games are 29-19, right? So, I mean, they've been playing good baseball. To me, the question I would ask is Luis Matos here if Mitch Haniger doesn't break his wrist yesterday?
No.
So
not today.
So look, he gets a valuable experience, comes up to the show, gets to be a part of a win, gets a hit in his first big league at bat, pat him on the butt and say, hey, buddy, this is how the business works. You need grooming. You're 21 years old, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and we feel like there's a better man for this spot that's going to help us win this game. And I mean, Conforto may or may not have had the biggest at-bat of the game.
Yeah, he grounded out.
But Yaz steps up next, comes up, and does the damage. They win in extras. That's what being a part of winning to me is about, is being able to look yourself in the eye and say, you know what? There are people that trust me to do my job when I need to, and they also have the ability to help others, and that might mean taking the bat out of my hands. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Willard and Dibs coming up next. I'm glad you had a good time last night. Good work. Good work.